Good evening. Welcome to another episode of Cinnamon Chat with Amita. And today it is the 39th episode. Imagine I have been running this show with an expert for last 39 weeks. So what's new? I wanted to add a lot of color, even though you don't see much color around me, to the show. So I was upgrading my technology. So I'm running this on a M1 chip from Apple. Of course, I also, you would have realized that I've been running it on ordinary headset, rather a small piece of wire like this. And then today, I'm experiencing the best audio quality from a Jabra audio device. So we need to update with the technology to give the best experience to our audience. And let me welcome all of you who are joining me from Facebook, from LinkedIn, and as well as from YouTube. Talking about myself, my name is Amita Gamage. I'm an executive coach. I love coaching CEOs. I'm a personal branding expert. I help C-level executives as well as business owners take their brands to the next level. And then I also help B2B organizations uh, enhance their sales performance by working with their sales team. So that's what I do. And of course, I recently added a little bit of live streaming. I'm a live streamer now compared to my 2019 profile. So what are we going to talk about today? I mean, to tell you the truth, I have been listening to so many speeches. I've been reading a lot of articles. I've been uh, going to so many conferences on digital transformation. And it's very rarely we get to take something back home and implement, like actionable insights. So I thought I better talk to someone who could talk about digital transformation, and then you could go back to your office tomorrow, your business tomorrow, and start acting on those insights. And I'm not the best person to do so. My forte is not digital transformation. So I thought I would invite a leader in the region who is driving digital transformation in organization. So let me welcome this special person, that is Tushera Kaudawat, and he is the CEO of Asiata Digital Labs. Good evening to you, Tushera.
Good evening, Amita.
Thank you very much for accepting the invitation and joining us. And you are actually helping a lot of organizations by way of joining me, because people are hungry, people are thirsty for knowledge on digital transformation.
Thank you.
So I always do this. I don't give a long and a lengthy introduction to the person that I'm bringing into the show. It is up to that person. So I would like to know a little bit about your childhood. I would like to know whether you have been transforming things digitally from your school age, or what happened. So a little bit about your family, education, your school time.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Talk about my childhood. Yes, I have been studying at Maliyadeva College, Kurunegala. Yeah, it's far away from Colombo. And even Amita's, I'm from Colombo, because if you're talking about digital and Colombo, it will be more like it's kind of, this is mutually inclusive. But yes, I'm a little far away from Colombo. And then my childhood dream was to become a musician. Then dramatically, those things get changed. And then I want to be a electronic engineer. Then I loved actually a lot of electronic stuff. Then even from small age to like even up to the A levels, I was doing some stuff with electronics. At the time, I wanted to be a doctor also, and then realized my passion is in technology or maybe craftsmanship. I would say I want to do something. Then engineering was in my blood, I would say. then went on to study, and then after that, then I thought I know everything because I studied IT. I thought maybe I start my own, then I'll teach rest of the guys how to do things. After about a year, but running successful in on
Wait,
enterprise.
Tushar, now wait a minute. You mean to say that you finished your school education and then you went to university, and then you finished university, and just like everybody else, you didn't join the corporate world?
No, I didn't. Just yeah, I mean, you picked the point right. Yes, I thought maybe I know everything. So that's typically that age. That's what is getting to our head, right? We know everything. I
Yeah,
can start this because even actually when I'm doing high studies, then I start actually developing some of the software, and then actually the side business. I think everybody does side business. Actually, you do me. This is a part-time job. Then you start earning money. When you start earning money, you feel like okay, I'm an entrepreneur. I can do things. I can be big. The
yeah.
thing only changed, Amit. Yes, I started my own. Then I realized when you become the top, you stop learning, and then because I mean, sometimes the ego also get into your head that hey, you're the big guy there, and then you stop learning, and you kind of not receptive to the ideas from people sometimes, right? And then I realized this is not what I want. I want to really learn from the people better than me. I would go to the industry, learn from the best of the best people, and then come back and then continue the enterprise. So that didn't happen, Amita, for good reasons. A good reason is I was challenged continuously enough. I have seen much better people than me. I thought then I have to keep learning. I have a lot of things to learn from the people, right? So that's what
Okay,
actually happened. So from the childhood, yes, and then I started my own. Then realized no, it's not the way. I need to go back to the industry. Start
okay,
mingling with a lot of good people. Right?
okay, Tushar. Before that, now you said you are from Malia. I have this additional question bothering me. Uh, was it uh, was it your what was the influence for you to pick IT? When you say you are into electronics and all that, so it could be engineering. I mean, when I say maybe mechanical too, there could be so many other options. Why specifically IT? Was the IT the buzzword at that time?
No, I didn't had any clue what IT would let me in. But only thing I wanted to do was I think maybe I get to play some games, right? Then that's more like a excuse to kind of get into IT and then play some games. Then other thing is, as I told you, I had the craftsmanship, more like I can do things in my hand, right? Even fixing a thing or maybe doing some stuff, I have that capability. I thought easy way to do that is maybe get into a computer and do something and show, right? Because then I don't have to waste my time, my energy, because I'm not a physically strong person, as in. So then I thought maybe so this is a way that I can actually do things and show the world that what I can do. Yeah.
Yeah,
So again,
okay.
got into the IT in the wrong reason, but actually it helped me again realizing much faster that I can do much bigger.
Interesting. So you answer that question. Thank you very much. So let's say hi to few people, and we have Dinesh. Good evening. Is saying good evening to you and me. Valuable topic has been brought to discussion today. Yes, and then we have Amanullah. Hi, Amanullah. Thank you for joining. You have mentioned Noski Ahmad. I hope he could join. Send him a text maybe. And then my next question now, okay, you were on your own for some times in the IT industry, and then you thought, okay, maybe there are other people who knows better than me. Not only IT, I'm sure there are a lot of other things that you wanted to learn, and then you
Right.
decided to join the corporate world. So, shall we talk about your next journey?
Yeah, sure. um, yeah, then I realized that I want to learn. So idea, actually the key word is I wanted to learn, and I wanted to learn from people better than me, who has seen things better than me, and from the global context also, because otherwise I'll be doing in a Sri Lankan context, which is very small and constrained environment. I joined a company called Palmware, which is one of the very first company that is in 97. It's a German company who did Java. It's a very few first companies who did Java. I wanted to do Java at that time, very early stage, right?
Okay.
And then I was there for 2 years, developed some products. I made that company is very small. At a peak time, we had about 50 people, but very when we are starting, we had only about 10, right? Fantastic set of people. I started learning from these guys. That actually gave me more like an endorphin or maybe kind of hook up to that learning from people aspect, right? Um, yeah, then 2 years I was there, right? It was a little global exposure. Our products actually hit the global market. We won at that time one of the global award also for that product we built in a German kind of awarding body.
Okay.
After that, yeah. So then after that, then I joined Virtusa, which is in '99. One of the global at that time it was small, about 50 people. Uh, Again, it was fantastic place at that time. We had a super set of people. I still admire all those people who helped me to grow my career. Yeah. And there I got the global exposure. I was in the US, actually challenging some of the top-notch individuals in the like this Fortune 500 company, top techies. So I was able to kind of work hand in hand with those guys to get that global exposure, challenging them and how to do things and what to do things. And mind you, Amit, at that time, Sri Lanka wasn't not in the map as IT, right? And they only see us
Yeah.
as Indians, and sometimes they don't really respect us. Okay, when we even say something, but in that case, our message to those guys have to be very strong for them to accept what we say, right? And
Yeah.
because all this
Yeah.
leadership position at that time is kind of led by Americans or the Britishers. So it was a tough journey, but actually we came a long way, very long way, and that was a learning experience for me as well.
Yeah. So that's amazing. Like joining Vachusa at that time, and then you were there for 20 years. So I mean, and then you would have started small. You said even the company was 50, and then by the time you reached the top, what were you? You were heading something, and what kind of a job role you had at
Yeah.
that time when you?
Okay.
Yeah. Pardon?
Sure. So Amita, yeah, I mean, from 52 we grew to about 2,500 or sorry 25,000 when I'm leaving Virtusa.
Wow.
At that time,
Wow.
so I played chief architect role for this global entity, and I'm yes, as you said, yes, I'm really proud that we brought this smaller company to a very large Nasdaq listed billion-dollar company, right? And so proud to be
Yeah.
part of that journey. And there were so many amazing people in that organization helped me. And at that time, so when I'm leaving, I was heading one of the largest the kind of practice across the globe, right? It's a global role. And also, I enjoyed a lot of technical stuff and as a chief architect in that company.
Okay, so today you are a CEO of one of the top organization who is leading digital transformation in the region. Now, for somebody to become a CEO, you can't just be a technology leader. You also have to be a people's leader. So my question is, when did you realize that you are a CEO material, that you have people skills? I would like to know that about that aha moment.
I think that happens in multiple stages, Amita, but I'll tell you some example, right? In one of the project, I was the architect. I was responsible for the architecture, right? And the entire solution. And then
Yeah,
I had a very good team. It's a large team, actually, maybe 100 odd teams. And then my aspiration was to deliver results. And then I was very aggressive, right? And then maybe I would maybe a little bit harsh on some of the people, right? Very direct with some of the people, even though they are really good. In some places, I have been very harsh and direct and very abrupt and very direct, right? Then I realized, so then in one instance, somebody challenged me and said, "Hey, I can't work with you." Then my another colleague came into the picture in the middle and say, and actually resolve that conflict, right? The approach that he took inspired me. Again, that's why I'm telling you, I'm learning from people, right? How he
yeah,
took that approach to resolve that conflict, right, with this people management and getting the maximum out of the people. inspired me. Then I changed completely from that point onwards. I'm again, mind you, this is about maybe 15 years ago. After that, then I realized my events today's my motto is leverage people's strengths and don't talk about weaknesses, right? Because when you talk about weaknesses, you are not going to get anything out of him, right? My best example, my always telling is Muttaya Muralidharan, best
Yeah.
ever bowler in the world, right? It's a world class bowler. We are not expecting him to bat, right? We are not expecting him to score the runs.
Yeah.
What we expect him to is threatening the opposition when they are the best batsman. How he threaten, and we are expecting him
Mm.
to take more wickets, right? So that's his strength.
Yeah.
And if we go and talk about Murali can't bat and he's a lousy fielder, whatever, I mean, he's not, but he's saying, then actually, then we are not leveraging the strength of a person. Every person has their own strengths. That's my belief. How to
Oh,
maximize that? So that's where my actually
super.
people skills start
Superb.
growing.
So I would like to ask an advice from you. We are trying to put the Sri Lankan IT sector in the world map, and there are a lot of people out there, especially those who are handling techies. You know, the technical managers, even the small business owners, where they are running a software development company, coming out with solutions, products. So do you want to give an advice in terms of handling people or people management skills to any bosses out there, any leaders out there, any managers out there where they are heading teams based on your experience of 20 years in that kind of organization? Anything you want to add
Yeah,
here?
sure. I think that's a fantastic question, Amita. So because all the time, so we are also being questioned about how to get them again, as I told you, how to get the best out of people, right?
Yeah.
One thing is really working well. And for example, if I tell you, Amita, the way you ask questions is wrong. I mean, it
Okay.
doesn't add any value to you, right? Because then you might be asking, how else I should I ask the question?
Yeah, of
Rather,
course.
I exactly right. Then what we really need to do is use data. Data is a very powerful weapon, right?
Okay.
Bring data onto the table and then show this data to people. Then people realize what to do, right? And I'm not an expert of everything, right? And I
Yeah.
need to make sure I get the maximum out of everybody. Then when you start showing data and showing the outcome where we really want to head into,
Yeah.
people will bring the results, right? People will execute, and when we're executing, again, we can show the data. Are we going into the right direction? Are we bringing the right results out of the actions that we are making, right? Every single action, then you should be able to translate into some of the results, and so that results have to be data driven. Yeah, it's not maybe somebody says this, or maybe somebody I hear saying it, or maybe I feel like it's right direction, or I kind of sensing it's the right direction or a wrong direction, right? That doesn't help anybody, and even doesn't help you, doesn't help me, right? Is always be a meaningful, objective driven discussions and backed by set of data that nobody can dispute, right? So that's what actually I think is help me personally, and it can potentially help anybody making decisions and working with people.
I can now imagine why you are heading one of the top digital transformation organization. Even for a small organization, you are saying take decisions backed by data. No one can dispute
Exactly.
it. Yeah,
Exactly.
not even the
Exactly.
government. You know, when they then the decisions are backed by
Exactly.
data. Superb.
Exactly.
Thank you very much. So, you want to talk about a little bit about Asiata Digital Labs and your role in terms of digital transformation. And I would like to also ask you additional question. Why? I don't want to ask you why Asiata Digital Labs, but since they are into digital transformation, there are so many other areas. But why digital transformation? You know, seems to have been your core attention at that time with the transition
Yes.
from virtual sat to here. Any specific
Yes.
reason?
So again, you had two questions. One is why ASEAN Digital Labs and why we are into digital transformation, right?
Yeah.
And other is
Yes.
again, okay, okay. Um, Now, if you look at ASEAN Digital Labs, so we are a large, under we are large under large group. So we are one of the massive telco. operator in the region, right?
Yeah.
Uh, North of actually, so we are could be the one of again second largest next to Singapore Telecom, right, as a large group. Then
Okay.
everybody, all this under Axiata, then you have a lot of organizations like telco companies and the digital organizations.
Yes.
And then, so what we do is actually help the rest of the kind of enterprises to have a platform of one thing is a connectivity, right? Uh,
Yeah.
the connectivity becomes a leading factor for digital transformation, right? If you don't have this, and you can't talk about digital transformation first,
I
and
mean,
then
look at
yes,
this show. Look at
exactly,
this show.
exactly, supported by the infrastructure, right? The connectivity
Yeah.
infrastructure. And then second is the massive amount of data that we are dealing with, and we can extract a lot of information, insights about the data that we can extract from the social aspects to the amount of work that we do with the people interactions, right?
Yes.
And when you look at those combination, is a nice ingredient and a recipe for us to think about how we can digitally transform any organization from where you are today to where you want to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the second thing, I mean, very important, Amita, you can't do digital transformation because you have a problem today to solve. You should get ready before you hit the problem, and that's where your strategy have to be, right? So you have to have a strategy in maybe 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years where you want to be, and then you need to keep looking at the competition, right? What they do.
Tushar,
The,
Tushar, I want to add you something here. It's very unfair because with COVID, almost everybody has hit the problem before even they planned.
exactly. So that's why I'm telling you, Amita, even not only digital transformation, even our knowledge, and you know something today, but you need to really get ready for the tomorrow's challenge. That's the knowledge. You need to keep kind of upgrading your skills and the knowledge to
Yes.
face to the tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow.
Maybe we're
Yeah.
talking about IoTs long time back. Again, right now we are getting into the IoT, right? Even we're talking about cloud for a long time. Now only we are kind of getting into the cloud big time, right? So there are so many things, skills and the technologies and everything. We should get ready beforehand. Before we need it, right? And because when you need it, we are late, and the small guys always can disrupt you. Look at what happened to maybe say the in Sri Lankan context. Can you remember? There's a company called Kangaroo Cabs.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course.
Where are they today?
Ah, true. I know.
Exactly. I mean, they had a super platform. They had a super brand, right? They were in the leading, more like a very reliable cab service, right? Right now,
Of
you
course.
either you pick Uber or pick me, right? Now you don't even
Yeah.
call Kangaroo because then you have to get a person to answer your call, right? Now you don't have that patience. They could have
I
get
mean,
ready.
yeah, Tushar, I mean, look at the classified sections. We had Silumina to Sunday Observer classified sections
Exactly.
taken over by someone else digitally.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So,
okay, I mean,
so that's the reason
you
again. So because of that
yeah,
opportunity.
yeah, I can see. So, so you have a lot to do because I don't think even your organization were able to kind of predict the pandemic. It would have brought whole new set of challenges to all the organizations now. Yeah.
Correct.
So let me connect the pandemic now. Now nobody can tell that we are new to pandemic. We are almost I don't know. We are passing 1.5 years to the pandemic now, and then first lockdown is over. Second lockdown is over. Now third one is over. I mean, until we all are fully vaccinated, no one can say no, no. We will not have a fourth wave. Yeah. So my question is, after the third wave, is Sri Lanka ready to transfer digitally, ready to go for a digital transformation?
I think if I be brutally honest, I think we are not ready, right? So we have seen that example. Even today, I think if we are ready, I think today you should be able to actually order your all the maybe actually simple example your groceries the way you want, how you want, and when you want, right? And maybe
True.
if you need, for example, dinner for you to cook dinner now, right, in 1 hour's time, you should be to order all your stuff and should be there in about half an hour. Are we there yet? If
No.
that's a more like a test in one way, simple. I mean, that's not only the example, right? But one of the example.
Yeah.
Still, even though there are a lot of big companies, larger historical organizations, they are struggling, right? They're struggling to kind of cater to the demand that people are asking for, right? And can you even kind of do the education completely digitally for every, at least majority? So we are struggling. Can all this infrastructure organization provide the connectivity to everybody in in the country? You
No.
can't. I mean, if you can't give that to everybody, then that means we are not ready, right? So that's
Yeah.
failure in that perspective. Every angle, if you look at, yes, we are not ready, but we are getting there, though, right? So we can't say 100% failure, but at least I would say, I mean, we can't be happy about the state that we are in terms of the digital transformation, right? Every
Yeah.
angle, so government to the private sector to individual to everybody. So we are not 100% there, or we are not fully ready.
Yeah. Okay. So you have lot to do.
Correct.
As much as the other organization, you also have a big role to play, since you are,
Yes.
heading and leading and helping organization to transform. So now I would like to uh, get into our topic in a different way. Can you define, explain uh, this digital transformation in layman's language? I mean, sometimes I have been to some conferences. I told you, it's like, you going to a conference by central bank. It's policy decisions and all that. I mean, I go home and there's nothing I could do about the US dollar, so I go to sleep. So,
Right.
same here. Can you simplify it?
Yes. I think in a simple layman's term, Amita, so your organization, you are doing particular work, right? And you offer services or product or services to a consumer.
Yes.
And that, in simple terms, as if you are doing that in today manually with set of people, how you can leverage digital technology to do the same is what digital transformation is about. Again, now we are talking about not digitizing or digitalizing, or I mean, it's just doing things in digital is digitizing, right? But
Okay.
digital
Okay.
we are adding another special word called transformation. That means you have to, I mean, you are doing a business today, yes, you leverage digital technology, yes, but you can't replicate the same way that what you do today to do when you are doing, when delivering with the digital technology. Good example, you go to a shop and then typically you stay in the queue, say checkout counter, you stay in the queue.
Yes.
Now when you digitize, do you replicate the same? I mean, you have to be key in the queue to kind of check out, or maybe even
I
getting
don't.
in.
I don't want to be.
Exactly, because now you are expecting, okay, I pick my stuff, I pay and go. Maybe you can do it in parallel. Now that's where the digital transformation. Then you need to think about the process, how you execute, and first tools, technology, process, and the people. Again, people need to now get ready to do things differently than I was used to do, right? So now I was used to do it is manually. I just maybe like get my stuff, stuff into the bags and giving you, and then pay and you go.
Yeah.
Now when it's come to that, now you have to think about, okay, how can I maybe wrap this properly and make it double check, is it the items are in order, right, is a good condition
Yeah.
and everything, because when the return comes, then it's a big problem to handle, right?
Yeah.
People mindset also have to change, the way do things have to change. That's where the digital transformation comes. You do the things in digitally, but adopting into the digital environment, how we exactly deliver the good experience to my clients.
Understood.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Now, let me add, a little bit of what I experienced. But before that, let's say hi to few of our friends who used to come and patronize the show, who comes and encourage us. So we have Dinuka. Hi, nice to see both of you. Thank you, Dinuka, coming here. We have Aravind. Aravind, he says 100%. Thank you. We have Rajiv George. Thank you, Rajiv, for joining from LinkedIn. We have
It's nice.
Charaka. Charaka, great to see this combination. Amita will masterfully extract the content as always. Now out of Tushara, I would love to hear from Tushara about using retail technologies in modern omnichannels. Amazon Fresh, the brick and mortar store, has set the stage. We'll hear you. So it's a question. Uh, Tushara, you want to add a little bit more because Charaka is a retail strategist. He's a consultant
Yeah, I
working
think.
for one of the, yeah. So if you could add a little bit.
Yeah, I think I can see must be mastering this area, right? And then he must be already knowing some of the stuff. And so the one layman explanation I given you, just getting the digital manual things into the digital, and there's the set of levels that you can go into. Now think about digital transformation, just the people to technology and how we do that in digital ecosystem. And then retail, so look at Amazon now. Think about you still today, you order from say Daras, so maybe online. There's a still guy who writes, take that wrapped box and do a write and then deliver to you, right? That
Yeah.
process still is a problem. Now that's why maybe Amazon is actually maybe looking at the drones actually picking up your parcel and dropping into your place. Now what? Now zero, or more like almost zero human involved in that process. Another thing is, again, you're talking about you go to a shop and you go and pick the items. When digitally you actually you search and then come again there you can actually give a more desired, or maybe like AI driven. You need to understand before I when I getting into my site, he should know that I'm looking for something like this. Maybe I might be looking for a refrigerator because I was looking, maybe searching somewhere in there that what's the best refrigerator. Then that
Yeah.
personalized experience, actually, the fifth wave is coming into the personalization, right? How we can give a personalized experience to my retailer, how I can pick things and the related items, how I can package, and when I even delivering, how can I maybe a delivery experience smoother? Today, if I order from Daras, say 5 items, I get 5 shipments, and it happened to me even today. Right? I ordered 2 items, came in 2 different shipments because 2 different guys are shipping. Now that's a bad experience for me, right? Because I don't know. I had to attend to that when the guy is delivering.
Yeah.
Sorry. And when you look at that, so how we can completely disrupt that entire process, personalize it, and give a very smooth experience that I will get the things I want, the right time, right place, and the right quality with a very good experience. Yeah.
So it's an
So
integrated approach.
integrated approach and the person. So the personalization and integrated approach is just the keywords. I think yes. I think Charaka is maybe experiencing some of these
Yeah.
things, and he must be the expert in that.
Yeah.
But the area
He's a, yeah.
exactly. So
Yeah.
he can think of actually some of this personalization is very important, right? And then I need to understand. So they need to understand what I'm looking for and what else they can upsell, right? So upselling is another key thing. So in that case, a lot of this AI, big data technologies that they have to use to mine my interest and what I really want and what I can sell to this person.
Superb, Tushar. I mean, I love your answers. One thing is, I mean, I'm a layman. I understand a little bit of technology, but then you simplify it so easily, so well. So we have a comment from Arunan uh, Ramajayam. It was really nice and useful, and he says thanks. And we have Dr. Lasit from Japura. Insightful comments from Tushera. Hope you will lead Sri Lanka the next level in digital transformation. Yeah, we all hope. And then what I like about him is, without any hesitation, one call he said, yes, I'll come and help you and your audience to understand this. That's the beauty of it. So once when you are an intellectual, once when you do things practically, as much as we want to do, I think first the knowledge transfer and then understanding these things in a very simplistic form could help everybody to take action. So we have someone that is Srikara. Thank you very much. He says, exactly. You can ask questions. You may not be able to catch Tushara on a personal level. He's working, he's busy transforming organizations digitally, but in a in a show like this, you can catch him. So ask him a lot
Right.
of questions. So my next question, I have seen uh, you know, those service providers, let's say for an example, the digital marketing agency will come and tell the organization, go digital, don't go for TV, radio, newspapers, so that you will become digital. The document management company come and says, go for paperless office, then you are a digital organization. That's the digital transformation. Then the ERP guy comes and says, "We'll give you an ERP, then you can be considered as digital transformation." Now, as a business owner, you go crazy. Which part is actually which kind of an activity could be called digital transformation? Could you give some insight into this issue? I mean, that makes you scared. You have some priorities. Everybody says if you do this, you will be transformed digitally. And
Right.
there's a great tendency that you might believe the ERP guy, because he will say, we have the HR module, we have this, that. So once this is done, you are done. What's your explanation to this phenomenon?
Okay, I'll bring a little different example to this. I can
Okay.
remember, I think maybe 15 years ago, Mercedes. So Mercedes is in the top brands of the automobile, right?
Yes.
They were inventing a car with a joystick and advertising saying this is not for you, for your grandchild, right? Because actually at that time, because gaming, so the people were playing a lot of games with the joysticks and all these things, and they thought actually joystick driven vehicle is a very catchy, innovative and transformative, right, as a vehicle. You know what Elon Musk did,
Yeah,
right?
I
Then
know.
they invented the autopilot, right? Now you actually you it disintermediate complete now from, manually driven steering wheel to joystick was at that time mind blowing, right? It was like, oh wow. And
Yeah.
they had a nice cockpit and you drive with a joystick and thought this is a fantastic. And then somebody came in and invented Tesla. This is a autonomous vehicle.
Got
You
rid of
completely
everything.
got rid of everything. Why you need even, he's asking why you need even a joystick now, right? Why you need even a driver to drive your vehicle, right? Because it's a
Yeah.
point is A to B, right? And that is what the disruption is. That is what the disruption is. Now, if Mercedes didn't see that, now look at that market share being taken away from these all these big guys like Audi to
Yeah.
Mercedes to BM to everybody by Tesla,
True.
right? Unknown brand, complete new brand. Whereas all of these people were there in the last 100 years, more than 100 years. This 100 years is done in about 10 years, right? So
Yeah.
that's the beauty of digital
So
transformation.
Tushara, that talks about our topic today. Huh? Our topic goes as, you see the ticker over here. So disrupting the disruptors to stay ahead
Exactly.
and stay
Exactly.
relevant. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So now I understood the example. So in today's situation, as I told you, these parts and pieces. So what you mean to say that you need to have a holistic approach this digital transformation?
Yeah. Good point. The reason is this. Now, taking your manuals today, you are running an organization, right? So then you might use some of the digital technologies. Maybe you might, yes, you might have a things to offer online, or maybe like maybe do some things digital. For example, say now you go to, let's say there was a check depositing in an ATM, right? You go and
Yes.
deposit your check in an ATM. That's the intermediate step. But at that time, if you thought, okay, why not you deposit your check from your mobile, from your desk, from your home, right? So that's a disruption, right? In that case, you don't now even to get into a branch, or maybe you didn't need to find an ATM. Now ATM
Yeah.
comes to you more like in your own time, your own place, your own way, right? Now you deposit.
Yes.
So now that's where I need to think about disrupting. Somebody's disrupted walking into a bank and getting into the counter in the queue. That is disrupted with a ATM based check deposit, right?
Yes.
But why not? Before somebody else come and disrupt that, okay, guy, don't come to my and this. I'll give you a fantastic experience at your convenient, your own time, your own place. You deposit your check, right? So now somebody before somebody disrupt you, you should think about what else, how else. No traditional. There's no steps in having to go from A to B. Assume A to B. there's no one straight line go to A to B. Maybe actually there's a, you can maybe end goal is to go to D position. You can completely jump from B and C and go to D by completely think about this disruption. So another good example is this this speedometer, right? So I mean, those days in US, if you had driven, and there was cops with laser guns or speed detectors, and then you had a speed detector in your car to check
Yes,
are they
to
pointing
detect.
at you. Yes.
Yes,
Now actually that is being disrupted by the digital, right? So you have this there's an app came in and say, okay, this place you have a cop. Now you don't need a speed detector. But the speed detector people, what they did was they keep bettering at the speed detector. Like they
yes.
introduce less gun, they improve the
You have a
distance.
camera now?
Exactly, right? So, and all of these are actually disrupted with the digital. In that case, somebody came in, and before somebody does that to you need to start thinking disrupting yourselves. Then your disruptors will get disrupted by your own disruption, right? So then that's where actually getting ready for that before somebody else does it for you.
Okay, brilliant examples. Thank you very much. So, before I get into the next question, there are some extremely difficult questions from the audience also. Okay, Aruen. Now, come on, Aruen. Tushara doesn't represent the government, but anyway, I will throw the question at him. When will our government transform into digitalized services? Tushara, I am sorry. I know you are not representing the government, but then my audience wants to know.
Yeah, I think so. Good example because why he's asking that question? No, we all have these problems, right? Think about getting your identity or maybe driver's license extended, right? And getting an appointment, even COVID vaccine program. What does stopping you get? No, you have your registration, right? You have actually registration. So NIC is a good platform, right? You
Yeah.
have the data, and people come and register yourself for the COVID, and I'll give you the appointment and you come this place. And I mean, that's a simple, I mean, it's not a drastic digital transformation, but at least enabling people for digital, right? And getting a SMS, almost everybody has a phone. At least you can send SMS saying come this place this time for your vaccination. And they are not ready. One, there could be good reason why they are not ready, or maybe why they are not doing that. And at the same time, there were a lot of attempts to do this government digitalization. I think you can see the driver's license, sorry, the revenue license renewal now is
Yes.
automated. Some of the
Yeah.
government services are there actually is so, but there's no coordinated effort because it has to be holistic, right? Your
Yes.
identity to your driver's license to your district to everything have to be connected because they need to know who you are first, right? That digital identity project I can remember is this dragging for a few years, right? All good. There could be reasons, but you have to start from somewhere. You need to understand who you are and what support you need. Look at the pensioners, right? Pensioners now struggling to get their pension. Sometimes they have to stay in the queue and maybe coming now. At least they come into your bank account, right? But there are a lot of verification, distribution of funds, or maybe a lot of charity work is not happening on the according to the plans. uh, in my view, we definitely can get there very fast because we are a very small country. We have with fantastic set of people who can do things, right? I mean, look at some of these
Yeah.
places I have met. They are with abilities. They are very good people. Only thing is they are not empowered, or maybe they are not given opportunity to try it out, or maybe give that kind of their service properly.
True. So, to add to that, I know a divisional secretary uh, who is sometimes frustrated with some of our systems. And then one day he asked me, we had this argument on Facebook. And then he asked me, okay, Amita, how do you get your identity card? I said, first I go to uh, my birth certificate place, take a birth certificate copy, and then I go to this place and give it. Then he said, if the then I said, then he asked, okay, if you lose your birth certificate, and then you have to get your identity card now. I said, I go to the birth certificate department, take it, and then I go to that place. And then he said, and one is private, one is government. I said, no, both are government. So if both are government, why are you going to these two places?
Exactly.
Yeah. So maybe we have a long way to go. But then, as you very correctly said, competency wise, skill wise, I think we are ready.
Correct.
Yeah.
Competency
So
wise
it's
and attitude wise, the people won't, I mean, look at that question itself shows that people are looking and eager to kind of looking for those solutions, right? Even people
yeah,
want, and
yeah,
again, people sometimes people want to do things, and again, sometimes
true.
infrastructure, maybe capital, maybe not there to support that, right?
Yeah, yeah. But then when the time is right, we should quickly grab it and go for it. Yeah. Okay. So
Correct.
interesting. So we have Gihan who says, indeed, a fruitful discussion. And Srikara says, time value for money. Time is money. So if there's a way to save time, yes, we are saving money. Yeah.
Exactly.
So thank you, Srikara. Uh, and then we have Chanaka Gayan who says, but do you think our people attitude enough to accept this in their day-to-day work? I think we are changing. Tushara just said that maybe they were not ready maybe before COVID, but then look at today's situation. People are changing. Right. Now, my next question. So moving into uh, the real actionable insight. Imagine if I'm running an organization where there are 25 to 50 people. That's a small organization. Or maybe I have about 300, 400 people working in my organization. That's a medium sized organization. Or maybe I have 1,000 plus people in my organization. All these three organizations should look for digital transformation, or only the large one should be looking at digital transformation. That's my question number one. Then question number two, where can we start? Any type of matrix or pillars or anything that can be utilized here?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that could be the more like a ultimate question that you can ask here, right? So what
Yeah.
we should do if
Yes.
first, I think all the business leaders know what they do, right? I mean, in my view, if they don't know, they won't be there. The first thing is
Yeah.
we need to believe
Yes.
they exactly know what they're doing, and fantastic organization they exactly runs with the set of process and the objective in mind. That's the first step. First, you understand the process, what you do, and then you understand who you are serving for, right? And your customer, right? And then you understand who serves this actually my organization serving my clients. Who does that? That's our people, right?
True.
And then you understand, do they have enough tools and again technology to support this? Maybe get my organization run efficiently. So that's first thing. So first you need to run efficiently. Then you understand your process. Then you understand the gaps in the process. You then now bring the areas that you can introduce the automation or maybe digital technology to that process. There are step-by-step process, right? I'll tell you a good example.
Okay.
I like bring some example. You are baking a
Definitely.
cake, right? You are baking a cake, and then it's typically you get the ingredients and then you mix it and then you bake it, right? In the very
Yeah.
simple. You can do that entirely manually. Somebody looked at the entire process of baking a cake and then thought this mixing I can automate because I mean it's a cumbersome process and it requires manual effort. Somebody invented the cake mixture, right?
True.
And then after that then you have to bake, so you have a particular temperature, constant temperature for a period. Now what you can, if you think about manually, now it's a very difficult job, right? Now then somebody invented I mean somebody used a thermostat in your oven and then auto cut. So that's the automation. That's the first thing, right? I'm talking about again simple automation. You
Yeah.
first bring those automation by watching your process. You introduce the technology to cut down. One thing is you're cutting down for a reason. One could be increase accuracy. Like I told you, the thermostat is to make sure the accuracy. It doesn't add a lot of value. Even you can do manual,
Yeah.
this mixing process actually increase. Now is maybe like 1 kilo cake to maybe say assume say 10 kilo cake. Now if it is a 10 kilo cake, you need at least few people actually mixing that ingredients, right? Or
Yeah.
maybe it's a sequential, maybe 1 kilo into 10 mixing process, right? But when you
Yes.
introduce the machine now, it can do maybe at once mixing. So first you need to understand the process. How can I bring the technology to eliminate the inefficiencies first?
Yeah.
right? The second
Okay.
piece is we need to look at how differently I can do. More like that's a business process re-engineering or transformation comes in. Okay, I don't need to do this and this and this because my technology now helps me cutting down some of the steps, manual steps, or maybe steps that in the process. You cut down those steps. Then you actually shorten while you actually automate, maybe improve. You shorten the cycle also. Then actually that also brings a much larger efficiencies, right? Now you look at what is actually clients are looking for. Then you need to adjust your output to actually what is clients are looking for. To get there, you need insights. That's where you need to do a lot of data, right? In a older context, you can use BI, more like a business intelligence out of the data, which is little more like a After Effects, right? Like
Yeah.
lagging process. Right now, you can bring data to kind of even preempt that before you kind of serving your customer. You need to understand, okay, this is why he's actually unhappy, or maybe this is why he's kind of getting into my site. For example, if you have a connection issue and if you're getting a call from your connection to the call center should know, yeah, this area he's in has a bad connection, right? And then
Yeah.
he's calling because of his connection is bad, or maybe he's calling his data speed is actually is bad. You need to get a little bit of insight before he gets there, and you need to provide a solution before he hits the problem, right? So again, multiple things. As I told you, you need to first you understand your process very well, no doubt about that. Now you understand where I can improve and how can I use the digital technology to kind of cut down my inefficiencies. Second, you think
Yeah.
about how we can do it differently to get to my end user or maybe my client to make him more like satisfied with my service or product. Yeah.
Understood. So that is the starting point. You will first map your processes, but business owners are busy in doing their core business and they don't have the expertise. I'm sure this is where you would come in. This is where they also get misled by some parties coming and saying, okay, this part is more important, this section is more important, or do this, do that. Eventually, what happens is later on, they will not be able to integrate them when they run. So sometimes you have number of legacy systems. Your finance is on Excel sheets. Your CRM is on the cloud where someone has recommended and taken. So uh, would you want to add a little bit over there? Maybe how do we iron out any of these, or should you do that first, apart from looking at your process?
Yeah, as I told you, it's is a, I think it's a very big discussion, right? I think so first, where is most of the places is go wrong is you think, okay, I need to use digital technology. Bring the digital expert to help me. That's where the start of the failure of your
Whole
solution, right?
process, yeah.
Entire process. You need to bring a technology with the domain. That means the business that you are in. If you are just bringing a technology guy, he'll tell you, okay, screw, maybe tighten this screw, and then you will be good. But he needs to know that if you tighten too much, then I might break this your whatever, right? And
Process, yeah.
likewise, that if you bring a technology person without a domain or understanding about the business that you are in, right? And he might
So
tells you
sorry,
things that
sorry to disturb you. So you are talking about the business domain, someone who
exactly,
understand that business domain.
exactly,
Yeah. So for an example,
exactly.
if I'm in shipping and freight forwarding, whoever is advising me should have some kind of a understanding and knowledge, expertise in that. Is that what you say?
Exactly. Right. So the thing is sometimes, okay, say I have a good AI engineer, right? But if he doesn't understand, say, banking, right, he might be come up with a fantastic technical solution, but it doesn't fit into the banking, right? He's might be
True.
fitting into the maybe retail because he has done retail. Maybe he might do the things that how he has done in retail to kind of fit into the banking, which doesn't go well, right? So that's where
Yeah.
most of the people go wrong. You bring a technology expert, assuming these guys know exactly what to do, but you know your business very well, and he doesn't know your business, right?
True.
Then it's actually he
Exactly.
tells you something to do where it's not aligning properly, and then in the middle, so that's where this the manual drive driven car to joystick comes in, right? Because he thought actually this technology works for you very well. Rather, you to understand what the end goal of your business is.
Okay, that's very well explained. So once that is done, let's say you understand your current process, where the difficulties are, and then if you really want, you will bring someone who has domain expertise as well as technology to help you
Yeah.
slowly start transforming. So what would be the second step or the next step?
So next step, as I told you, Amita, so we need to understand what exactly we are going to deliver to our clients, right? And what is our value proposition for the client? And then again, in that, you need to understand what is our competition is doing, right, to attract the same client. Because I am maybe looking at the same client that other my competition is also looking at. Then I need to stay ahead in the game and stay relevant and current, as I told you, right? And they need to understand who's my client, what he wants, and what is how differently I can do to get to my client, right? So don't underestimate the competition. It could be maybe 5% organization to maybe 1,000% organization to maybe a few $1 billion organization company, right? Doesn't matter. You need to understand who you are serving and who else is actually looking at the same client base, and then how I can get to that point much faster, much better, much cheaper, right? Because at the end, so Amita, you want your Jabra at a low cost with the highest quality, right? So
Yeah, yeah,
then if somebody else, I'm look at Apple has disrupted in some of the industries, right?
yeah.
Even
Music,
Samsung has disrupted exactly in some of the
true.
industries. So
Yeah,
so they have taken some of the industry, I mean, competition completely out of the game, right? So look at the Nokias to the Blackberries, and all these guys are not even the picture right now today. And
yeah,
those
yeah.
two people are playing a big role in terms of staying ahead of the this technology game. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. So you just mentioned about the first two important pillars in this whole process, right? First thing is to identify the process, and then looking at maybe someone to come and advise, but someone from the business domain, not only from the digital side of it.
Yeah.
And then the next one is to check whom are we serving, what customers
Yes.
are we serving, who else is serving the same customer, so how best
Exactly.
can we improve, do it much much more better than what they are doing. So interesting. I mean, I don't think many think in these lines. I mean, if you are taking notes, I'm talking to the audience, this is a good time, or you will have to revisit our video, rewatch. It's still, it's
Yeah.
worth, I'm learning here. So Tushar, amazing, right? So what shall I do next? I'm thinking like a business owner. Of
Sure.
course, I'm a
Sure. Good.
business owner. What would be my third step?
I think third or the fourth step. I think then second. Then actually we need to really think about the time to market. So speed is a currency, right?
Yeah.
And so if you're late to get into that, even though your technology is far superior, and you'll be seen as, okay, you're a follower. That's exactly what happened to BlackBerry. BlackBerry, when they introduced the BlackBerry 10, their technology was maybe two times superior to Samsung or the Apple, right? They had, even in
Yeah.
your calendar when you are making a calendar invite, even they brought the mapping to that and say, as if I'm inviting Amita to you for a meeting, say at Cinnamon Lake or Cinnamon Grand, they give you the mapping to that also in that appointment itself.
I
And they had
remember.
a BlackBerry
Yes.
hub, which is actually combining all the social media like LinkedIn to Facebook to all of this into one hub. And then like you don't have to maybe hovering around multiple different apps. But they came into the game very late, right? So then the Apple disrupted that, and so they were out of the market. So the speed is a key thing. How you get there? That's where actually some of the things you need to practice, like the design thinking or your MVP approach. You don't have to get to the like ideal state. You can start with simple, and then try it and get to the market fast. That's what actually this some of the shoe manufacturer did, right? Selling shoes online. Think about 10 years back is more like a not done thing, right? I mean, why
Yes.
you pick up online? But this particular person want to try it out, and what he did was he didn't have any shoes in his store. He came up with a very static web page. He went to the shops and took pictures and then published in the website saying, "Okay, this shoe." assuming since the shop is $50, he said, okay, $45, right? And then he want to try it out. Then he saw people are making an orders. He didn't have the engine, automated engine that picking up the order. You can pay online and everything. What he did was in the manual, he's when he's picking the order, actually he takes it and sending a message. This particular thing is available. What's the size you want and all these things, right? He make what the computer does in a manual way because he want
Yeah.
to test the hypothesis that can I
Yeah.
sell shoes online? Once he got to a point that yes, I have enough, then he start actually automating the entire thing and implementing it, right? So that's what I mean. Look at even Amazon did this almost a similar thing, right? He tried selling books online. Where he
True.
is today, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So I like what you said. Speed is the currency. Yeah. I mean, if you don't do it quickly, and then you don't have to digitalize or go for a digital transformation. That's why you call it transformation. The
Exactly.
transformation is
Exactly.
not something that happens overnight. It's a
Correct.
it's a probably it's a little tedious process, but then you come to the ideal stage at one particular amazing, beautiful. So you need to have people like you, organization like you, consulting them and telling them what to do and taking them on the right what can I say, right path. So the customer would know what technology to adapt, what systems to have. Otherwise you will be, and sometimes some of these, if it is a large organization, some of these technologies are expensive, so you might invest in
Correct.
the wrong thing. You want to say anything on
Exactly.
that?
Yeah, I
So
mean,
digital
as I told you,
ROI side of it.
exactly. That's why this, as I told you, this design thinking, MVP approach, bring the right partner with you. I mean, because of maybe I have the largest maybe digital transformation engineers. I mean, don't take me because I might not know, for example, healthcare, for example, right? And then I
Yeah,
can't add any value. I can maybe come and tell you how beautiful you can do this thing, but it might not align to your business goals, right? And so that's a failure because you sometimes we get blinded by a big kind of some of the keywords, right? I have so good digital engineers, one of the best in the engineers, and but is blinded I'm not having that maybe healthcare experience, right? So
true.
so we have to be careful with that. So it's very important who you work with and who you are actually dealing with, right? And are they aligned to my business? They know my business? Yeah. So
Amazing. So uh, my last question to you. Now a pandemic has hit. uh, I say this is like an bow and arrow. Now it's pulled backwards, but then I know in about a year's time we will have massive growth like 2001. We hit the bottom as the entire world when the 9/11 attacks came, and 2008 again we hit. But if you really look at the global economic growth rates, industry growth rates after those issues, we have thrived. So now
yeah.
I see there is a slowdown, meaning there will be a massive growth. So in terms of digital transformation, one, I have two questions. One, is this the right time to look at digital transformation? And then uh, what are we looking at when it comes to future?
Is it a right time? No, because it could have done yesterday, right?
Wow.
And so I mean, in that case, nothing is never too late. Maybe we
Yeah,
can start thinking today. And as you exactly said, so economy is going to definitely boom because the depression we have, people is going to come up with innovative ideas. I mean, I can imagine some of the young people maybe who's here watching must be thinking in their head, what else I can do? How else I can maybe supporting the system? There could be sort of entrepreneurs and maybe best brains that thinking how can I be next, say, Elon Musk to Jeff Bezos and all these guys, right? Because they came up with something different. We
true,
also, there's nothing called we are done with the technology. There are always things that you can do completely new, right? We never thought, say, Uber will be there to disrupt the taxi company. Right? We thought that taxi, you take a call a cab and go, right? Nobody
yeah,
want to kind of disrupt, get into that, but look at how what they did, right?
things have
In the
changed.
food, I mean, food industry. So now we are thinking, yes, I think you go to a shop and you buy stuff, but again, there are supply chain. the farmers also will getting into that entire the ecosystem, right? How we can enable from farmer to the retailer into entire chain, you can come and disrupt that, right? And then you this intermediate, you give the best benefit to the farmer, you give the best benefit to the retailer, you cut down the intermediates. Now actually you have an opportunity to play here. There's massive money, amount of money is involved there, right? So I think yes, one thing is look at the future, look at the opportunities ahead you have, plan it, and go fast. Strategize it, go fast. And when you go fast, go big bang. Start with very simple, even some small static web page people set up behind doing manually. Testing your hypothesis is a starting point,
True.
right? Actually, so now even you don't need to get to that. There are enough now technology and platforms available on the cloud and on available abundantly. You can try it out
Yeah.
some of these things. Get some quick,
True.
simple stuff. Get to the market very fast.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So, talking about these young people, my 12-year-old son is launching an e-commerce website to offer
exactly.
entrepreneurial skills to sell online. So that is where we are heading. So there's one more question. Uh, I think it's fair to answer that. Since you are mostly into product-based nature, why can't you provide a digitalized solution to health sector where the health sector employees could support the patients from distance? Ashar, actually, Tusheri is not in that industry, but if any healthcare provider would want to transform digitally, I think Tushera's organization could help. Am I correct,
Yes.
Tushera?
Correct. Again, I think maybe Ashar must have picked up the point that yes, there are things that we need to do. Again, even though sometimes I told areas, right? There's an infrastructure required, right? So when you're thinking about digital transformation, yes, you have the data and you have the connectivity and you have my systems connected, but I need a nice vehicle that I can bring things into my clients very fast, right? For example, say now so even say think about even your medical prescriptions to the delivery of medicine, and even
Yeah.
your test, more like digital test or test that you may have, and you need to get to that to a doctor where actually doctor can quickly analyze it and give you a solution to that, right? And
Yes.
even again in healthcare actually there are multiple things, right? So there again is you are talking about doctor and a patient, there in between you have millions of things happening, right?
Millions
Which
of
we don't see and
things.
we don't appreciate too much almost, right? And so the sacrifice they make and the things that they do run manually because they're always dealing with maybe a person's life. Yeah.
True.
And even some of the solutions we have built earlier that again you wear a device where I mean if you have any symptoms of maybe abnormal heart rate or pulses or whatever, as you send an alert to a maybe central place where they monitor you, right?
True.
So I mean there are so many things you can do.
So many
Yes.
things that you could do. Yeah, yeah. So, thank you very much, Ashar, for that question. So, Tushera, it had been a great discussion and a pleasure to have you here. And then amazing examples because it's a bit of a tough subject for an ordinary person. So, you made it so simplify. And then again, I had to thank you for accepting my invitation without any hesitation, without much questions. And I think we can see the results today. There had been many questions uh, and many answers were given, and I'm sure there will be a lot of people who would be watching this even later. And then uh, okay, we have someone who is saying, Gihani, good discussion with real-time explanation. Yeah, Gihani, my job is to make sure I have around 17,000 connections. So my duty is to make sure that I add value. And Tushar has, without any hesitation, has decided to come and help. Spending 1 hour is a great thing. Thank you so much. We have just passed 1 hour. Actually, it's 1 hour and 8 minutes. Great discussion. Thank you so much for joining with us, everybody, whoever is joining from Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Thank you very much, Tushera.
Thank you, Amita. I think it's very nice having you here and taking me to this discussion. I enjoyed that. And again, I'm not the expert in everything. Again, believe me. So I'm not the expert on everything. So I'm little things I know. I love to kind of share because that's what it made me a person who I am. I learn from people. I'm
Yes.
respectful and I'm grateful for those people who helped me in this my journey.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Tushara. Thank you, everyone. Uh, Stay safe, follow the guidelines, health guidelines, and then let's come out of this situation as soon as possible. Good night.
Good night.